morning. Please join me in welcoming, for the first time in the Great Hall of the Department of Justice, a truly historic moment, the 88th Attorney General of the United States, Attorney General Todd Blanche.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. You clap because I'm your boss. Thank you very much, Jolene. I appreciate it. Good morning. Good morning to everybody here and to folks watching. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me. I wanted to address everybody within the department, say hello and talk for a few minutes. So thank you. I want to start by thanking President Trump for having the confidence in me first to nominate me to be the Deputy Attorney General and then to nominate me to be your Attorney General. I believe, and I truly believe, that there is no better job for a lawyer, no better way for a lawyer to serve this country than to work within the Department of Justice. And so me getting the opportunity to serve again within the department and now to lead the department is something I promise you I will never take for granted. I also want to take a moment and thank Attorney General Bondi for her leadership, for her friendship that we had over the past several years, the foundation that she laid for 14 months within this department is extraordinarily important to me and to those around me and really put us in a position to succeed. So thank you. But mostly, I want to thank every one of you. You make me look good. When I talk to the president, when I talk to Congress like I spent the past few months doing, when I talk to the American people, when I meet with other leaders, whether it's at the state level or at the national level or visitors, when I talk about all the ways that we're having success, when I talk about the ways we're making America safe, when I talk about the wins, when I talk about the successes, I know that it's not me doing that, and I still take full credit. And so, but I mean that. I mean, the wins, the successes, the work that you all put in every day, there are no better lawyers, there's no better paralegals, there's no better support staff, no better civil servants anywhere in the world than those that work here at the Department of Justice. And I want to talk about for a minute the brave men and women that work at the Department of Justice in a law enforcement capacity. I don't want to leave anybody out. The marshals, ATF, DEA, FBI, the Bureau of Prisons, our criminal investigators, OIG, you make cases for us, you make sacrifices for us, you put your lives on the line every day. When you hug your loved ones in the morning, it's a little bit different than when I hug my loved ones because you know that there's a chance that you may not come home. And so everybody in this room is eternally grateful to our great law enforcement partners that work at the Department of Justice. Some of you guys may have heard this already, and I'm sorry to repeat myself, but it's my story, and so I have to say it over and over. I started in the bond building in year of our Lord, 1995. When I was in college, I started as an intern. I started for one semester, my senior year of college. I extended it to 2 semesters. I then convinced them to hire me as a contractor, where I worked for a year in the asset forfeiture money laundering section. and then got a job as a government paralegal, as a paralegal specialist, one floor up, I think one floor up in the bond building in the narcotic and dangerous drug section, where I worked for 2 years. And then I moved to New York with my young family and continued working as a paralegal in the SDNY U.S. Attorney's Office, where I stayed for about 4 years while I went to night law school. And I loved every minute of those jobs, every job. When I was an intern, when I was a contractor, when I was a paralegal here, when I was a paralegal in New York, I loved the passion I saw in the prosecutors and the support staff. I loved the mission. I loved the camaraderie. It was every job I had was just a little bit better and a little bit more fun than the one that I had before. I then, as hopefully you know, had the privilege of serving as an AUSA in the SDNY for 9 years. And once again, I loved that job just a little bit more than I loved every job I had had before that. And every step, every one of those jobs, everything that I did during my professional career, it made me who I am today. And so when you think about who you are and the body of work and what you've done, how that influences the decisions that you make today and the things that you do, I am the same way. And so I tell you that first as Deputy Attorney General and now as your Attorney General, I promise you that I will lead this department with integrity. I promise you that I will focus on our core mission, which is to uphold the rule of law fairly and impartially, to keep this great country safe, and to protect the rights of every citizen in this country. And I think about integrity and that as a word, but it's really, in my mind, keeping a promise to each other, to yourself, and to everybody that you interact with. And for what we do, it's a promise that we're going to uphold the law without fear or favor. It's a promise that when it comes to the criminal side, that we're going to go after criminals. If you break into somebody's home and you commit a robbery, and it's a federal crime, we're going to prosecute you. If you sell drugs, we're going to prosecute you. If you steal from the fisc, we're going to prosecute you. And it's a promise that everybody in this building, everybody watching, the career professionals that do their jobs every day with honesty and with courage, not because something they read in the media or something that they hear, but because it's exactly the right thing to do. It's a promise that we will always protect and that we will always defend our law enforcement partners in this country. The men and women who run towards danger every day are the men and women that everybody in this department will be committed to protecting. Everyone in this room, everybody watching at our U.S. Attorney's offices across the country and our federal law enforcement offices across the country have a lot to be proud of what we've accomplished over the past year and a half. And you know, it's easy to focus on the negative or the news story that is critical of something that we're doing or something that we've done, or questions something that we're doing or something that we've done. But do not forget that we have accomplished a tremendous amount of good, positive work in the past year and a half. Just the violent crime rates in this country have gone way, way down. And that's not all the federal government. But we are certainly a big part of that success. We have arrested hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of violent offenders, both in the drug space, human trafficking space, and other space. These are men and women who are now removed from our communities so that our communities can be safer. And that's work that you all have done over the past year and a half. We captured most of the FBI's 10 most wanted. We've seized thousands of kilograms of fentanyl that would otherwise have poisoned our communities and our neighbors. Something that we did early on, which I think is important, we designated the major cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, because that's what they are. They're terrorists. They murder, they traffic, and poison for profit. And as you all have seen, we're using every tool in our arsenal to go after these terrorists, whether it's just enhanced charges at the prosecution level, asset forfeiture, pressure on their networks here and abroad. And we're seeing success in actually making a real difference in this country in what has been a war on drugs since most of us were young, were children. We're aggressively going after violent criminals, gangs, TDA, MS-13, Bloods, Crips, any of the gangs that target our communities, and we're not going to stop doing that. And I want to say it again, but it's something that I say every time that I speak to any law enforcement organization, and I hope that you all share this vision with me, that we will always back the blue and back our federal law enforcement partners without apology. And what that means at the federal level is that anytime somebody assaults a federal law enforcement officer, we will prosecute them to the best of our ability. I think it's important to talk about the work that this department has done protecting and defending the integrity of our borders and the enforcement of our immigration laws. It's not optional to do that. It's foundational to the rule of law, to the safety of our communities. When we talk about, and we've talked a lot about protecting the fisc, we are pouring a lot of energy and a lot of resources into anybody who's committing a fraud against this government. And we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to defend the executive branch's policies and regulations, and that, whether that means standing up for an agency being targeted because of a decision or rule they make, or whether it means our great civil division attorneys, civil division AUSAs across the country pursuing affirmative litigation, which we're doing a ton of, defending our rights as citizens in courtrooms across the country. That's extraordinarily important work that is often done behind closed doors and often not on the front page of the papers, but it's the core of the essence of what keeps the executive branch running. And so we're going to continue to do that. Our appellate attorneys here at Maine Justice, our appellate attorneys at U.S. Attorney's offices across the country have had a very busy year, and I think that will continue. But the work that you're doing defending decisions and defending convictions in the criminal space and defending decisions by lower courts, appealing decisions by lower courts that we disagree with, making sure that every case we bring or we defend is decided based on the facts and the law and not for some other purpose. I want to speak for just 1 minute about what I really love about this department, if it hasn't come out already. What I have seen over the past 30 years, working intimately with this department, is that this department succeeds when people of different backgrounds, different politics, different life experiences put the mission of the department first. The best AUSAs, the best trial attorneys, the best support staff, the best agents I've known are perfectly comfortable arguing fiercely in the conference room or in your offices about the best strategy or the best path forward. But when they walk out of that room, when they walk out of that conference, when they write that brief, when they go into court, they execute the decided plan as one team, one mission, one goal. That's what this department has done for generations. And that's what we are going to continue to do every single day. I think disagreement is extraordinarily healthy. I think disagreement is the only way that we make the best decisions as a department. I think that we should continue to do that because I think the fair administration of justice and us doing our jobs depend on that. And I want to encourage everybody to do that. We are going to, as we always do, defend the Constitution of the United States vigorously in court. We will always respect the role of the judiciary. We will not engage in or stand for any sort of performative attacks that undermine the institutions that we are sworn to uphold. At the same time, we're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to be intimidated out of enforcing the law or doing our jobs or executing the goals and priorities that we have in this administration. Remember that we came in here a year and a half ago, and one of the things that we really wanted to do is make sure that we were doing all we can to restore law and order, to restore safety in this country. Our job is to deliver on that mandate every single day. And I don't say that to say that we need to start doing that. That's something that we've been doing. I'm saying that I'm joining you today on a cruise ship or a sailboat, or whatever you want to call it, is sailing in the right direction, and we're going to continue to do that. I want to again just talk about the federal agents that work in this department, the deputies, our law enforcement components, and thank you for the risks that you take every day. And to our civil, to our criminal AUSAs around the country, to our trial attorneys here at Maine Justice, you all are the tip of the spear in our communities. And I say that all the time. I say that every time I go to a U.S. Attorney's office, or every time I talk here at Maine Justice. Our prosecutors, our trial attorneys are the ones that are doing the actual work. When the cases are made by our agents, when the cases are presented in any sort of a civil context, whether it's defense or civil affirmative litigation, our prosecutors that are in court fighting every day are the tip of the spear. The work that you're doing will not only affect your communities in this country today, but it many times will shape the law for generations to come. So thank you very much to the analysts and the professionals who work tirelessly for the department every day, and I was one of you. I know that the work that you do rarely makes the headlines. That's a good thing. But I also know that this department does not function without you. And I don't think we give you all the credit you deserve. Nobody calls you when things are going well. We just call you when there's a problem. That's not fair. But we do thank you very much for your service. Everybody in this department, whether it's here in DC or around the country, work hard. Your hours are long, stakes are high. There's probably days when the work and the bureaucracy feels heavier than the mission that you're actually trying to execute on. But on those days, what I do is remember why you signed up for this job. Remember the work you're doing and why it matters. Remember the victims that you're helping, that you're representing, that you're trying to make whole, the communities you're making safer, the rule of law that you're defending, and hopefully that helps you get through the day. I know that I will not get every decision right. Everything that I do will not be the right path or the right decision. No one does that, but I do promise you this. I promise you that I will work as hard as any of you. I promise you that I will listen to you, that I will listen to the ideas that you have or the adjustments that we need to make, and if we need to make them, I will make them. I want people who want to do the right thing every day, because that's what I do every day, or at least that's what I try to do every day. If you do that, I promise I will back you every step of the way. I can't tell you how proud I am to stand with you guys. I can't tell you how overcome with emotion I am when I think about how lucky and how blessed I am to be where I am today. I want, my goal at the end of the day is that when we're finished, when I leave this department, whenever that is, we're more respected, more faithful to its highest ideals than when I found it. And that should be every single person's goal every single day. And so I'm going to end by the way that I started, which is by just thanking you for your service and thanking you all for your sacrifice and for the hard work that you put in, and also for the privilege of letting me stand next to you in this journey over the next several years. God bless the Department of Justice. God bless the United States of America, and let's get back to work. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.